Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.
Good evening. I'm Sibylla Chipaziwa, and The Local Live would like to wish our veterans in Larchmont, Mamaroneck, the U.S., and the world a happy belated Memorial Day. Thank you for your service. Here's what's coming up tonight, Thursday, May 28th. How do we keep Westchester's less advantaged kids from slipping through the cracks? We address their needs with Cora Greenberg, the Executive Director of the Westchester Children's Association, in our upcoming roundtable. A familiar face at municipal meetings has an announcement to make. See what was on the agenda for Tuesday's meeting of the Village of Mamaroneck Board of Trustees. What makes first-class cleaners unique? Stay tuned to find out in our community segment. If you missed the Larchmont Memorial Day Parade, we've got you covered. And we have the sweetest kitty to show you. Let's help her find a forever home. Mayoral elections are far away, but we have an early development from last Friday's taping of The Tom Murphy Show. The town of Mamaroneck councilman had breaking news during his interview with Mamaroneck resident Dan Natchez. We have the exclusive clip.
We're getting near the end. But I just wanted to ask you, what are your, do you have plans for the future to get more active in the village? And if you do, what are they?
Well, it's interesting and timely that you asked that,
Okay.
because about a couple of hours ago, I made a decision to run for mayor.
A couple hours ago today.
A couple of hours ago today.
Well, we really timed this perfectly, huh?
I will tell you.
You heard it here, folks. Late breaking news from the Tom Murphy Show.
People have been urging me for months, from all walks of life in this village, all parties, all economic stratas, asking. They said, people have come up to me whom I really do not know, so people that I have not met or have socialized with, and say, I like what you have to say. You need to do more. We need to have that type of thought, as part of what we do. I see on television, I keep saying, turn the channel. But after a while, and then we've had a lot of people of what I call high stature of recent day. High stature meaning that they have been in the village for a long time. Yeah. They love the village. They've been very active.
Generationally sometimes, yeah.
And they're saying, we really need a leadership that will bring people together and not be divisive, that will have fiscal responsibility, that know how to work with development and have smart development versus just any development. So yeah, that's what I've decided to do.
Well, congratulations.
And I would hope that I'm going to seek the Democratic nomination.
Okay.
Democratic Party nomination. And I welcome everybody's support, and anybody who wants to come help me work, give me a call.
The full interview will officially air tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. on lmc-tv, Channel 36 for Verizon subscribers, and Channel 75 for Cablevision. While the debate on Mamaroneck's parking resolutions is still ongoing, there's a new development regarding the salaries of the mayor and trustees in the village of Mamaroneck. The Local Live has been following this story since it first broke on the Mamaroneck Insider on April 26th. The Insider reported that in an executive session on Monday, April 20th, the Democratic trustees proposed to raise their salaries by 2.5% on December 1st of this year, and that it was going to be on the agenda for the Monday, April 27th meeting. But this did not happen, and only the village's budget was approved. After the meeting, the Local Life followed up with Mayor Rosenblum, and he confirmed that he proposed to decrease the salaries by 10% and was met with laughter from the Democratic trustees, according to the Insider and our interview with the mayor. In a text message, Trustee Podok said, quote, all members of the board receive a 2.5% increase in the annual stipend, same as non-union employees, effective as of the next organizational meeting in December, end quote. Regarding Podok's statement, we also contacted Village Manager Richard Slingerland and Assistant Village Manager Daniel Sarnoff, and they responded by saying that they did not increase the salaries for the fiscal year of 2015 to 2016, leading to some confusion. Will there really be a salary increase? Is a stipend considered a salary? According to public record, The mayor's salary is $8,427, and each trustee's salary is $4,590. This topic made the agenda on Tuesday's Board of Trustees meeting, and Trustee Santoro gave context to these increases, creating different reactions among the trustees.
The reason why I was a little disturbed over this is because when we were having the budget meeting, Trustee Potok made a proposal to increase the trustees and mayor's salary 2.5%, like the non-union people just received in the village effective June 1st. But it wasn't part of the packet. It was held over till effective December 1st when we have a reorganizational meeting. So I feel it's an injustice to the taxpayers not knowing that come December 1st, there's money already put aside for an increase in salaries for the mayor and the trustees. So my motion is to take a 10% reduction effective June 1st, 2015 for the mayor and the trustees.
We're put in a position where you can't vote against this because, and if you do, you lose political points, and the people who suggest it are appear to me to be trying to make political points because it can't be the money.
This is all posturing and hypocrisy at the grandest scale over absolutely petty issues.
Trustee Finch?
Yes, regretfully, because I think it's sending the wrong message about the value of trustees.
Trustee Potok?
Abstain.
Trustee Miller?
We had a discussion in our work session about this, and I made it clear that I was not for increasing the salaries of the trustees. There was not any discussion or any mention, public, private, or otherwise, about Trustee Santoro's intentions about what he would do with these salaries. With lack of information provided and reasons, as well as a proper history aligning all of this, I'm going to abstain because there's just not enough information and it was not provided to us appropriately. And I don't support the way that you go about doing business for this village.
All right, I wish to change my vote to abstain. My colleagues have convinced me.
Trustee Santoro?
2 weeks ago when I first proposed this, there was not even any indication by the two trustees here that they were willing to talk about it. We could have talked about it then. We could have held it for a work session then, and we could have gone further on this, but nobody chose even to put it on the agenda. It's your procedures. If it's voted down, it'll all make it go to the next agenda.
So
It's fine if you guys want to vote on political line and make it politics and all abstain from voting. You know, you have to live with yourself on that. So.
So why don't you raise it?
Excuse me,
Yes.
he's talking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mayor Rosenblum? Yes.
The Board of Trustees has not received an increase in salaries since 2010. If you want to watch the meeting in full, visit our website, lmc-tv.org. Let's see what's trending in our online newspapers. Here is In the Media with Greg Carlson.
Have you received a threatening call from Westchester Joint Waterworks lately? The company took note of multiple complaints from customers saying that their bill will be raised unless prompt payment is received. The water company is raising awareness to the matter by posting to the Hamlet Hub. If you receive such a call, do not give the caller any information or initiate any kind of payment. Rob Astorino takes a stand against sexual assault on college campuses as he takes notice to the flaws in college legal systems. Many times, rape victims have not been provided necessary justice and their assailants have been let off free and clear of charges. Astorino's 4-point plan is meant to complement Governor Cuomo's campus assault bill. Check in at Hamlet Hub for more updates. The Ebola virus makes its way to the news once again. According to the Patch, a traveler returning from Africa shows signs of the deadly disease. St. Joseph Medical Center has since taken every precaution necessary in containing the infected patient. Shirlita Ambler, the head of Westchester County's health department, shares some comforting words by stating, "The most common diagnosis in travelers with fever who have recently returned from Ebola-affected countries has been malaria." For the art lovers out there, the Mamaroneck Public Library, located at 136 Prospect Avenue, will be hosting their 4th annual teen art exhibit. Check it out and support local artists ranging in ages 13 to 18. For more information, go to mamaroneclibrary.org. And for the foodies out there, look no farther, for Bradley's Desserts and Cafe, located at 2 Chatsworth Avenue, is the new hotspot in town. According to the New York Times, the cafe is considered to be the local salon, their session with the shrink, their clubhouse, their local cheers. Stop by Bradley's for great food and a great experience. Those were the stories in the media this week. I'm Greg Carlson.
After the break, we have a one-on-one interview with the Executive Director of the Westchester Children's Association, Cora Greenberg. Now it's time for trivia.
Stay tuned!
Good evening. I'm Michael Witch, and welcome to the Round Table for Thursday, May 28th. Tonight we're going to be talking about children and our youth, specifically an organization called the Westchester Children's Association, whose mission is to make sure that every child is healthy, safe, and prepared for life's challenges. And it is my pleasure to greet our Executive Director guest tonight, Cora Greenberg. Welcome.
Hi, Mike.
You are the Executive Director of this organization, which is not a county agency, correct?
That's correct, yes. We're an independent nonprofit organization. We've been around for 100 years. Last year was our 100th anniversary.
You don't look a day over 30.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And our mission has been consistent all that time, even though the issues that we tackle and the methods that we use, of course, have changed over time.
Well, I was looking through your website in preparation for this interview, and you had a centennial video produced for you to celebrate your 100th birthday last year.
Right.
So I'd like to show our audience a little bit of that, and also just before we see that, to remind you that, as always, you can communicate with us by email or telephone or tweet, and I'm going to be keeping track of your tweets and emails and calls. With your questions or comments, feel free to do that. The information on how to contact us is at the bottom of your screen. Well, let's now go to the centennial video, and we'll just watch about a minute's worth of that. Here's the Westchester Children's Association centennial video.
Westchester Children's Association is the organization that makes children healthy, safe, and able to meet life's challenges.
It's a system of care, of committed individuals who really work towards helping to improve our community.
In Westchester County, we have many challenges and many children and families that really need to have an advocate.
We identify problems, we educate the community, and we build a constituency, and then encourage legislators to really make important changes.
They're almost like the person who is sort of behind the scenes, quietly does the work. They're not looking for the acknowledgement. And that's the power of them. Their ego is not attached, other than the ego of, I want to make sure that this gets done.
Westchester Children's Association is about really changing the systems that affect children's lives. And when you change those systems, you are changing the lives not only of children today, but of all the children in the future who might be facing similar issues.
Our guest is Cora Greenberg. She's the Executive Director of the Westchester Children's Association. And the goal of creating an atmosphere where children are safe and healthy and prepared for life's future, that's pretty impressive goal.
Pretty ambitious.
It is, but
Yeah.
Westchester is a wealthy community. I wouldn't think that that would be necessary in our neighborhood.
And you're not alone, Mike. I think there are many people who live here in Westchester who are doing well, their families are doing well, and they may be completely unaware of the fact that we have many, many children and families and young people in Westchester who are facing challenges. Some of the challenges may be things like poverty, poor housing conditions, educational challenges, mental health challenges, and a lot of these are not only in poor communities. I live in Pleasantville, and I'm sure here in Mamaroneck too, there are families who are facing struggles that their neighbors may not be aware of, but they may be needing the kinds of services for which we advocate.
Well, I was going to ask, aren't there agencies like the schools and social service agencies that the county may run or the local community may run? Don't these agencies meet those needs?
Very often they do, but sometimes needs emerge or needs change over time. And part of what our organization does is try and keep our finger on the pulse of how children are doing in Westchester and make sure that those changing needs meet with changing responses. And sometimes government and even other nonprofit agencies are a little bit slow to pick up on those changes, and we help by bringing people together and allowing conversation and being a kind of catalyst for change. Sometimes we can help reach a solution to a problem that otherwise might not be reached.
So the WCA then, as I understand it, is not a service agency.
Right.
You're a data collection and advocacy agency.
That's exactly right.
And you work to support the other agencies and institutions that are out there to try to meet the needs of these kids and the youth.
Well, we see ourselves as supporting the young people themselves. That's our goal. And part of the way to do that is to make sure that there are resources available so that organizations, agencies, government agencies or private agencies, schools or hospitals or health centers or whatever, have the resources they need to meet the challenges. And sometimes it's not a question of resources, but it's a question of making sure there's communication and sharing of information across different organizations and different institutional systems, which don't ordinarily communicate with each other.
Well, again, on your website, you listed several success stories from 2014, which again was your centennial year.
Yes.
You had a activity called a Next Generation Legislative Breakfast in February. What is the Next Generation?
Well, the next generation is all of our kids. Along with a partner organization, the Child Care Council of Westchester, we've been sponsoring this for the last few years. We invite elected officials to come and to hear questions and have conversation with young people from the county. So we recruit 6 or 8 young people and let them ask questions about the things that are on their minds, and then the elected official have a chance to have conversation and give their responses to that. And it's a very lively conversation, as you can imagine, because young people don't have the filter that some of us adults have, and they just ask the questions straight out. It's been a great experience.
And you also had a chance to treat some of these kids to theater?
Oh yes, and once a year we run an event called Let's Take the Kids to a Show. And we pick a show, and actually this year we did, in 2015, we took everybody to a Westchester Knicks game. So our donors provide tickets, and we recruit kids from foster care agencies, local community service agencies, kids who might not otherwise have a chance to go. And they have a great evening. It's really a fun event.
And I think important too is one of your projects is Raise the Age. Which is about changing the legislation to allow, to prevent kids who are under 18 from being incarcerated.
Well, exactly. In New York State, and we are one of only 2 states in the country where at the age of 16, a young person is considered an adult in the criminal justice system. So that means if a young person at age 16 or 17 is arrested in New York, they are treated as an adult. It's not just the incarceration, which of course is a problem, but the entire way that they are handled in the justice system is as an adult, as opposed to the way they would be handled if they were under 16, which is in the juvenile justice system, in the family court system. So it's a completely different model of justice, and we believe, along with a lot of other advocates, that it's high time New York changed this legislation. We are actually right now in the thick of advocating for this change because the legislative session in New York State is going to end on June 2nd. So we're having a legislative lobby day on the legislative session is going to end on June 17th.
Right.
We're having a lobby day on June 2nd in Albany, and we have a current campaign which people can access on our website to send messages to elected officials urging them to make this change. It's most people don't even know that that's the law in New York State. You probably don't know it unless your son or daughter was arrested, picked up by the police when they were 16. That's a rude awakening. But for young people who go through that process, it's a pretty traumatic. It can be a very traumatic process, and most young people make mistakes. I mean, I certainly did when I was a teenager, and we believe that it's better for people to have a chance to be rehabilitated, to come back out from whatever punishment is appropriate, but then come back out a step ahead rather than 2 steps behind. And that's what happens in the criminal justice system, is that it's really a punishment-oriented system rather than rehabilitative.
And the governor is with you on this.
This was a very big
It's just a matter
initiative.
of now convincing the legislators.
Exactly, and there are a lot of, it's not, what's being proposed right now is not perfect, and that can sometimes stall things. And everybody wants their tweak and their change, and the legislative process is a complicated one. But we feel very strongly that the legislation that is currently in front of the legislature is good enough and much better than what we have now.
We have an email question from a viewer who asks, what has the WCA done that you are most proud of?
Oh, that's hard. I know I've been with the organization for 20 years, so there's a lot of things that we've done. But I will say that one of the most effective things that we've done is pull together coalitions of folks, of organizations, of individuals to make change. And that's a very broad thing to say, but for example, we've created a number of different programs. We've created a program called Early Step Forward that brings mental health professionals into daycare centers, that really saves a lot of kids from being thrown out of, believe it or not, thrown out of daycare centers because of behavioral problems. All of these different changes that we've been able to do, it's because we've been able to mobilize the public, mobilize people that care. And that's really our biggest challenge, is to get the word out to the public about things that need to be changed. Because we believe that a lot of people do care about kids, do care about youth. They may not know about the needs that are out there.
You think they just rely too much on the existing organizations and they figure they're taking care of things?
I think that there's a couple of different problems, or not problems, but barriers to people becoming engaged. One thing is, most people in Westchester, live in their community. I mean, I certainly do, and you know what's going on maybe in your community, but right next door in the next community, or even on the other side of your own town, you may not be aware. I think problems or issues in New York City, for example, get a lot more play in Westchester than the issues that are here. And yet when people find out what's here, they are concerned, and they're looking for ways to take action. And that's what we hope to be, as kind of a catalyst for that kind of action.
We have another question come in. What do you think is the biggest problem facing children in Westchester, and what can be done about it?
I think part of the problem is this lack of equity. Many kids in Westchester are doing very well, but there are a lot of kids who are not doing very well. And if we can get everyone off to a good start and give them the opportunities and supports they need all the way through till they get to be adults, the community will be so much better off. We will not only save a lot of money, but we will be a healthier, more prosperous community. And I think that's the problem, is that we are not paying attention to the equity issues in Westchester. We're going along as if, well, that's just the way things are. Some people are going to do well and some people aren't. I think for kids that's a real big mistake, because with very little in the way of investment, we can have huge returns on someone's particular life, but also the life of the community.
And one more. What can I advise an 18-year-old young man who is homeless to do?
There are a lot of great services in Westchester County. I will say in general that United Way runs a wonderful service called 211, that literally you dial 211, and it's a very rich resource of referral information. So there are programs that can help young people who are not living at home, are not able to live with their family, and are looking for help. There definitely are programs like that. I don't know this person's circumstances, so I can't make any referrals, but I would certainly say 211 is a terrific resource for anyone with any kind of problem, any kind of issue that they're looking for services about.
Now, you mentioned earlier that people should be aware and they should get involved. And I imagine the first thing you want them to do is to know about WCA and know how they can support WCA.
Well, that's right, but and very easy to find out about us by going to our website, which is wca4kids.org.
The number 4.
The number 4, exactly.
Okay.
As you said earlier, very few letters. It's easy to do. there's opportunities there to find out more about what we do and to support us. But more importantly, even, is to find out what are the issues facing Westchester's children and what you can do about that. We try to make it very easy for people to advocate from home, click a button and send a message to elected officials on any issue that resonates for you, that you think is important. And it's an easy thing to do, but it helps to raise up the visibility of children. You know, senior citizens vote, and they can get a lot of attention from politicians. Children don't vote, and it's up to us who care about them to bring them into the political process in that way and make them a top priority for our public dialogue.
Well, one of the news items you had on your website was about the terrible percentage of people, the terribly low percentage of people who vote on school election. Something like 9% in our own community, which is shameful. And yet the impact that it has on kids is substantial.
Exactly, and that's a very local issue that people can vote on. It's not just the budget, but it's of course the members of the school board that you are voting for on that day in May. It ranges from community to community. Often when a community is trying to overcome the tax cap, they'll get a higher percentage, but not always. So there's a lot of things that keep people away from voting on that day, but it is such an opportunity to really exercise local control in the most basic way over the lives.
And not just on budgets. You mentioned the importance of electing school board members and how they set policy and what the impact that has.
Right. I think all kinds of local elections get very low turnout. This year in 2015, in the fall, we will be electing members of the Board of Legislators for the county. That is another election that gets very low turnout, but the county legislature and the administration make all kinds of decisions that affect us, all of us in Westchester, everything from fees for the parks and the golf courses, to where the Beeline bus is going to run, to things that may be more specialized, like how much low-income people have to pay to send their children to qualified daycare centers, or what kind of health centers are going to be available, or what kind of mental health services are going to be available for those of us who may need it from time to time. So the county government really has a lot of influence over many things in our daily lives, but most people don't really pay attention to that and come out and vote for the person that's going to represent them in the county legislature.
We've got an email that asks for some advice. It says, what should I do if I see a child being abused in public by a parent?
There is an 800 number, and I'm sorry I don't know it off the top of my head. There is a child abuse hotline number that one can call, or you can call the Department of Social Services in Westchester County, which I do know the number of is 995-5000. But it is great if people step up, and you don't have to give your name if you make that anonymous call. You can just say, I'm concerned about this, I've seen this, and of course if you don't know where the child lives, it's a little harder, but it's a tricky thing. You don't want to interfere with someone else's parenting, but when someone's really being hurt, just as you would with an adult, if you saw an adult being beat up, what would you do? So
you had some compelling stories as part of your annual report of last year. Can you tell me about Deshaun, 19 years old?
Well, he was a resident of a program in Westchester called the Youth Shelter Program of Westchester. And again, this is another nonprofit organization, one of our many partners who provide direct service for young people in a variety of situations. That program is an alternative to incarceration for young men ages 16 to 21 who have been arrested and are in the county jail. And so instead of staying in jail, a judge can remand them to the shelter where they go through a very rigorous process of education, counseling, all sorts of things. But we got involved with Deshaun because in partnering on this Raise the Age campaign, we asked some of these young men if they would come with us and speak in public at various public fora that we arranged, speak about their experience as 16 and 17-year-olds who were in the adult criminal system, and speak to legislators about what they hoped the change in the law would accomplish. And that was such a great experience on all sides, because those young men who had troubled pasts and all kinds of made some major mistakes in their lives really saw themselves in a different light, saw themselves as someone that could be taken very seriously by people in power, whose opinion was listened to and solicited, And it was a great experience to bring them, to go with them to Albany and help them see themselves in that light.
You also have a story about Andrea, who's 4 years old and whose family needed to find some help for daycare.
Exactly. So there's an example of how county government really affects people's lives. The county decides what portion of the cost of daycare a family will pay. And with other partners, again, we advocated over the last couple of years to increase the amount of money that was available for families who were just above the real low poverty level, so that they could afford to send their child to a qualified registered daycare center. And that means so much. Early childhood is such an important time in a child's development. It's important that they have stimulation, that they have a great chance to socialize and learn some of the skills that are going to serve them well throughout their academic career. And of course, it means that the parents can go to work without worrying that their child is not being well cared for and learning.
And here we are at the beginning of summer, and you also have another story about a teenager named Jordan, who's he's a foster youth, as you describe him, and needs summer work.
Right.
And kind of struck out the first time he experienced it.
That's right. Well, Westchester County has this terrific program for many years that places foster youth, teenagers who are in foster care, in jobs with the Parks Department. Sounds great. However, some of the rules that they had over the years made it hard for young people to have a second chance. And as I said, I know myself as a teenager, my own children, people make mistakes.
Sure.
But the rules of this program were such that if you went, say, as a 14 or 15-year-old and got this job and you struck out, you did something dumb, you didn't show up, you mouthed off to your boss or whatever, you couldn't come back. So the next year when you were a year older and a year smarter, too bad, you were out. So by bringing people together from the county, from the agencies that help foster youth, we were able to unravel some of this. And last summer, with new rules in place and new supports, 50 young people from foster care had a successful summer job, which is a great accomplishment for them. So
That's
it's a good
great.
start.
So also another page that you exhort people to join us and to give.
We want people to give to us, of course, but we want people to know that we don't accept any money from government. So all of the funding that we get is private, from individuals, from foundations, and we rely on that so we can remain independent and really have a voice for children that is not compromised in any way.
You also, and you have some people from Mamaroneck and Larchmont who are board members.
That's
or
right.
were board members and are donors.
Right. Well, Doug Gould, who you saw in the video, is as our incoming vice president for the board of directors. Kate and Seymour Weingarten. Kate used to be on our board. I can go on. Jackie Hilley, who she doesn't live here anymore, but she was our president for about 5 years. So we've had a great crew of people from Larchmont, Mamaroneck. Oh, Adrian Weiss Harrison, who lives in Larchmont. Just great people. I've been very blessed to have the partnership of a lot of great people from this village and town.
So how do we give and how do we stay in touch and spread the word?
Right on the website. I think the website is the best way to get to know us for first-time visitors. There's a donate button. There's a join us button. There's lots of ways to sign up for email alerts or our newsletter and keep in touch with what we're doing.
And the website again?
It's www.wca4kids.org.
Cora Greenberg, it was a delight to have you tonight.
Thank
you
Mike.
for the information. The time just flew. And thank you, viewers, for your questions and comments. And stay tuned because we have more of the Local Live coming up right after this.
You're watching The Local Live,
the only news show on Larchmont and Mamaroneck on LMC-tv.
Being a hero is more than what you do, it's who you are. Ray Cohan, the owner of First Class Cleaners, spoke to me about his father's legacy and his new business. We're here at First Class Cleaners at 626 East Boston Post Road, where owner and 20-year Mamaroneck resident Ray Cohan talks about his new business location and shares his personal story.
I used to be down the road. The store name was Mill Square Cleaners. I had to close it up last year because the lease was terminated. And since then, I'm trying to build this store, and we've been open for 2 months now.
The son of an Iranian hero, Ray displays a trophy as a reminder of his father's service during the Iranian hostage crisis, where 52 Americans were held in the U.S. Embassy in Tehran by a group of Iranian students for over 440 days.
This trophy that was given to my father in 1985 by United States Air Force just before the Islamic Revolution in Iran. My father was able to help 5 of them to get out of the embassy before it's been taken. And we had to shelter them and keep him in our own home until he could get some kind of help or passport for this 5 individual to go through Iran and get out of it.
Motivated to help others in the community, Ray holds to his father's values.
He's always with us, and my father passed away 3 years ago. So this, I keep it forever. And every time I look at it, it reminds me of him and his integrity and his courage.
Ray is aided by a loyal staff of over 15 years, including well-known seamstress Tina Maria.
We are here, 6 of us. My tailor, her name is Tina Maria. She's a very famous person in the neighborhood. Everybody almost love her because she's a very good tailor. 6 people, they do full-time work here. And they've been with me for more than 15 years.
Getting married, going to the prom, think twice about buying a tux.
Wear it one time, and then you never wear it again. So renting it is better. If you're buying a suit, $800, $700 altogether with the whole set, okay, you could rent it 7 times.
Expect first-class service from a first-class neighbor of our community. For the Local Live, I'm Sibylla Chipaziwa. This week in sports, the Mamaroneck baseball team found themselves on the wrong side of a 1-0 score in the bottom of the 13th inning. The Tigers got 2 runners on with 1 out, and up stepped Andy Carlin, who delivered the lmc-tv Varsity Sports Player of the Week.
Genevieve's with speed, and they've got 2 chances.
Ground ball into the right field. Genevieve comes around, and he will score the winning run. Safe at the plate, and Mamaroneck wins it in the bottom of the 13th inning, and the Tigers storm the field.
Wow.
Carlin with the line drive to right field, wins it in extra innings,
They're
and
stunned.
the Tigers are off to the sectional championship.
They are stunned in yellow. Do you believe it? How about them apples, huh?
An incredible line drive shot in between the first and second baseman. The hard hit ball fielded by the right fielder, but the speed of Genevieve and the diving headfirst slide into home plate wins it for Mamaroneck. And once again, Mamaroneck baseball is headed to the Section 1 championship.
Congratulations, Tigers! We were at the annual Memorial Day Parade this past Thursday, where it was a sea of red, white, and blue. Lisa Ann Moline has the story.
My name is Lisanne Moline, reporting for the Local Live TV here in the village of Larchmont, New York for the 2015 Memorial Day Parade. Alongside me here is Troop 1827. On this beautiful spring day here in New York, enjoying this parade with many, many, many people here. Come and join us and let's take a peek. The parade was in full community spirit. The beat goes on with the Marines kickstarting this year's Memorial Day.
We came in on the USS San Antonio to help spread knowledge and awareness about what we do in the United States Marines and the United States Navy, and I believe the Coast Guard came as well.
A family event for young, old, as well as our furry neighbors. Government officials ranked in, supporting the commemoration.
A scene out of The Music Man. You know, you have marching bands and little brownies and Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. You have the police and the fire and the military people who look terrific in their uniforms. So it's a great tradition, and it makes you feel like you're in a hometown.
The mayor, Ann McAndrews, joined the event.
Many of the people get smaller and smaller every year, so it was kind of a thrill to wave and have the little ones wave back, waving their flags.
Not to mention State Assemblyman Otis.
We stand for something, and that's what Memorial Day and a parade like this is all about.
Reporting from the heart of Larchmont, this is Lisanne Moline for The Local Live.
Meet Molly, our pet of the week. She is an adorable kitten who gets along with cats and small dogs. She is looking for a quiet home and will make a wonderful companion for any cat lover. If you would like to adopt Molly, you can visit www.ny-petrescue.org. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of The Local Live. Next week, we'll be talking with members of the Westchester Coalition Against Islamophobia about being Muslim in Westchester and the meaning of the upcoming month of Ramadan. For more information on the stories aired, you can visit our website, lmc-tv.org. If you have any questions or comments, or if you would like to volunteer, email us at thelocallive@lmc-tv.org. I'm your host, Sibylla Chibuziwa. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week on another episode of The Local Live.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.